introduction of, or to the overview of what has happened at the ITS Congress in Europe in Helsinki during this week. And I will first give an overview and a first feedback of the activities, and then I will categorize the topics among the ones that are showed there: deployment paths, regulatory needs, connectivity, test and validation, human factors, digital infrastructure. Look a little bit at a few presentations that are have been given by our international guests, and then also see where are the gaps in terms of missing topics, and then look at the future events. One of the things that we have seen in many of the presentations is these kind of pictures of the night rider that was looking at or using kit as his automated vehicle. And what we see is that, well, we don't know if this is exactly what we want to achieve. And through the different presentations, you're going to see how this actually we are quite far from what we had imagined 20 years ago. So first, the feedback. It is a success, I would say, from the ITS Congress point of view. Automation for the first time was put as a main topic, and many sessions were displayed at the ITS Congress on the automation. Is it a hype or a trend? We have to see how this works, but clearly the people were very happy with that choice. We had full rooms, not one seat left in all the sessions, and people standing in the back. Great interest in the topic with many questions, and almost no ends to the sessions where we could have continued the discussion for hours after. Also, we noticed new actors, policymakers, urban planners, etc., raising their interest. So we are very happy to see these coming to the ITS Congress and getting more insight on what the intelligent transport system is. So clearly, the momentum on automated driving research and its deployment is remarkable. So we have to keep going on that. There is a poll. We are going to launch a poll. Davide is going to prepare this, and it's a simple question. Did you attend the ITS Helsinki Congress? So we see how much of you wanted to attend. Yes, of course. No, but I would have liked to attend. Or no, if it's not a priority conference for you, and then we would of course be interested to know or what kind of conference should contribute more to automation. So we have 90% of the votes, and how many said? So we have 10% of saying yes, they attended, and then no, I would have liked 81%, and 10% said that this is actually not a priority conference for me. Okay. So very interesting. So we are talking about two people that have not attended. So the automation at ITS Congress was consisting of 6 very interesting sessions with different levels. One executive session with executive views on what is happening on automation. Then three special sessions from different angles. One on the future deployment of automation. How do we address this deployment? One on showing more the viewpoints from the research on challenges of automated driving coming from interactive and adaptive projects, which are two of the biggest project on this topic, and then how connected automated driving will change traffic management, so a viewpoint from traffic management point of view, and then 2 technical sessions. So we wish to have more technical sessions on automation, but there was only a few papers that were submitted. Also, aside of the program, we had a brainstorming session organized by the Finnish Ministry of Transport, which was very interesting, as well as many of the exhibitions were talking about the automation. So, general remark is something that we have raised many times during the sessions. Is the fact that SAE levels now have been adopted by the European and US vehicle manufacturers as their reference. So when we talk to the vehicle manufacturers, they would like to use in priority SAE level automation. These SAE levels of automations are originally based on BAST and INITSA definitions, and also they were adopted by the VDA, the German Automobile Association. So 5 levels of automations, and I'm not going to go through them right now because we are quite short of times, but I will show another view. Then when we talk to within the trilateral activities between US, Japan, and US in EU, we often recommend to express the level of automation by mentioning the origin before the level of the level. So, for example, SAE level 3 or NHTSA level 3, etc. So that would make it much easier. Some remarks on the confusion of the terms: highly automated driving versus fully automated transport. So two things that are quite different. We have more an approach of highly automated driving as an evolution of advanced driver assistance systems, and fully automated transport that are more an approach where we are looking at a fleet of vehicles which are operated from a fleet operator point of view for the transportation of people. Also, autonomous versus automated, that was quite well covered in the work of Schladover a couple of years ago. He was insisting that autonomous and automated should be very cautiously used. Autonomous meaning that it can operate without external help. Opposite of that would be connected. And automated meaning that it can operate in an automated manner, which would be the opposite of manual. So automated also, there was automated vehicles connected or versus connected automated vehicles. So whether automated vehicles should be connected, or that the connected vehicles would be automated. It was a bit confusing, but I have another slide on that. Response 4 is actually, for that purpose, this confusion of terms, preparing a glossary of terms for highly automated driving. And also, at the same time, CityMobile 2 Work Package 26 on certification framework has prepared a list definition, but spinning more from the Railway Directive and for fully automated transport. So two different approaches: highly automated driving on one side, fully automated transport, and these two have issued a list of definitions. So now I'll get into the different topics that I mentioned earlier. Deployment path. We had a technical session 06 where Nykänen from Tampere University of Technology gave a quite good overview of different mega trends and the plus and minus from each of the mega trends for what would be the influences of automation for each of these mega trends. Quite interesting, but it definitely needs more work and more understanding and thorough evaluation of the influence of automation for these mega trends. Another point that was raised by Arjan van Vliet from RDW was that two approaches in the developments have been actually described by Bart van Arem in '97, not necessarily related to the deployment of automated vehicles, of course, but more from the ITS point of view. And these two approaches show geographical approach. So do you introduce in one step in a very confined area or geographical area these kinds of vehicles, or do you take a functional approach where we have a step-by-step introduction of these automation? So that was quite interesting to come back to things that have been written a long time ago, but are still clearly in line with what we have today in the environment. Arya Itemad gave an interesting view on how they see automation and the introduction of automated driving. They gradually see this introduction with more and more automation, with ADAS today with the lane keeping assist, ACC, stop and go, etc. Then going for ADAS of tomorrow with park assist, traffic jam assist, and etc. And then going for another generation, traffic jam chauffeur, and then finally more highly automated scenarios, for example, for specific environments at low speeds for the parking garage pilot. What was out of the scope actually of the highly automated driving was the robot taxi, and which a bit I understand here, his statement was level 5 of fully automated vehicles on every road at any speed is too far away and at the moment out of the scope. So next deployment path, we had a discussion on with the executive session with Angelo Tambitis of ICCS, so giving an evaluatory path of these automation from today the connected and semi-automated functions, then looking at more and more automation on segregated dedicated lanes, with some full automation on last mile solution, etc. Then mixed traffic, introduction of automation in mixed traffic, and then finally an horizon of 25-30, full automated driving towards automated transport systems. And I have a slide on automated transport system, but first perhaps you would like to say something, Panagiotis, on that topic. Panagiotis,
thank you, Maxime. I would like to. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
So I would like to welcome also from my side all the participants, either from the US, from Europe, or Asia. So I would like to just state a couple of words about this idea that we developed together with Angelos a couple of years ago. So we're thinking that in the future, from the automated driving aspects that we have met so far, which are mainly related with the vehicle itself, and we are quite mature in this area, we need to go further, and this is a vision actually for the longer term, and go from that kind of isolated solutions and isolated automated elements from road transport towards automated transport systems, and we try to define that. So actually what we mean by an automated transport system, we mean an innovative and holistic mobility concept where all the different elements, travelers, public transport systems, infrastructure, operators, control centers, and not only the vehicles, have self-organizing capabilities, and also they can operate in different automated levels, like the high levels you mentioned before, and try in real time to address all the needs of the participants in a specific traffic scenario, and also support not only passengers but also freight transport. So this is a vision and an idea that we think it's also while presented in the conference, it was well received, and but also it's for the far future. We think we should start building elements from now in order to be, let's say, ready within the next few decades.
Okay, thank you very much, Panagiotis. We can continue with a poll actually on the deployment path, and the question is basically what is your view on the deployment of automation of road transport? Are we going to go rather on evolutionary path, on a revolutionary path, on small and fully automated transport in confined environment, or just both, that they are going to grow parallelly from more automotive driving side, and then or rather other solution. And so yes, I think that we are 71% of the votes. We can check, and then we have not so many that are thinking that we are going to have a revolution, so only small, fully automated transport in short range and then doing the last and first mile, but more an evolution path. And some of the people thinking that both will happen, well, actually half of the people, and other, which we don't know which ones, but of course they are in a. So that's very interesting, results. And now another topic was the regulatory needs, and many questions were raised on legal issues, regulatory framework, roadworthiness, type approval, liabilities, and insurance. And one thing that many seem not to know is that the European have called for a recent amendment of the United Nations Working Party on Road Traffic Safety. And the amendment of the Vienna Convention goes like this. It would allow a vehicle to indeed drive itself as long as the system can be overridden or switched off by the driver. And of course, this amendment now has to be ratified by the different signatories of the Vienna Convention, which can take up to 18 months. But at least now there is something on the table, and quite simply phrased and quite powerful. Then in terms of the liability, it's still not clear whom to blame when an accident will occur depending on the scenario and the level of automation. But what is clear is that the OEMs, the car manufacturers, will provide a roadworthy vehicle with the highest functional safety. And then besides that, some solutions were mentioned. I'm not advocating for one of these solutions, but they were just mentioned. A framework for type approval of automated vehicles based on series of tests in virtual environment, on test track, and finally on the real roads. Use of data recorders that are capable of reconstructing the incident and that we can receive in court, and use of the concept of vehicle as personhood, or e-vehicles, or e-driver, sorry, which is similar to the treatment of liabilities related to animals or kids that are sometimes going out of the control. That was very interesting discussions. So regulatory needs at the national level, the Netherlands has been giving a series of presentations, and they want to be at the front line of the deployment of automated transport solutions. And one of the examples is the DAVI demo, national initiative, and where they have RGW, the authority, the certification authority, has issued a specific case. So that means an exception to the rule, with automated vehicles admitted to drive on the road in the Netherlands, based on the directive 2007/46. So also next to that, insurance companies seems to think that this is a positive trend and wants to go with that. And the parallel to these kind of special exceptions to the rules are, for example, the vehicle that is shown on the slide. So a vehicle that is clearly outside the norms, and but still allowed to travel on the roads. Then another regulatory needs was mentioned by Sweden, with the preparation for testing of partial and fully automated driving on the roads in 2016-2017. The statement was that the current Swedish regulation gives space for testing of vehicles with high degree of automation. The traffic legislation seems not to prohibit the operation of these vehicles, and if the vehicle does not meet requirements, there is possible exceptions from the transport agency. It was unclear whether anyone can be held liable if there is no driver present or someone who may count as driver. So that means that they are discarding. They are basically saying that we might not find any person that is liable for this, and it is getting close to the legislation on animals and kids. And then a few statements on the Drive Me, and the Drive Me project led by Volvo Cars said that highly automated driving will be allowed, but only on specific roads that have been certified for this kind of operation. So here, in this case, the ring road, the highway around Gothenburg, and in some additional, some secondary roads that are very well controlled, and also car parks that are managed by the city. Also, regulatory needs in Finland. The Finnish Ministry of Transport wants to be also in the front line and transform the policy for automation. And then they are working with the law and the policymakers to allow tests on the roads, like in the Netherlands, but they are focusing a lot on fully automated transport in urban area with vehicles operating at maximum 40 kilometers per hour. I said a lot because they are not only focusing on this, but it seemed that during these workshop with the Finnish Transport Agency, they seem to be very keen on allowing this kind of operations, and it seems that they should be ready by the end of the year.
There is a question on the first part in regulatory needs.
Yes.
From David demonstration. It will be allowed in urban, suburban, motorways, in which kind of environment?
Very good question. As far as I know, the DAVI demonstrations are mostly on highway, at a highway level, on what they call this ITS corridor in the Netherlands, going from Rotterdam and further down to Eindhoven, etc. That's as far as I know. Perhaps it will be extended by RDW to other places.
There will be.
So we have organized a poll for the people that are, and the question is: do you believe in the current national member state approach? Yes, yes. The deployment will start with exceptions at the member state level, or no, we need absolutely a EU framework for deployments, or another opinion. So you can give your. We have already 51% of the vote, and I'm not going to give you more details. 73%, 76. Okay, some seem to be not sure, so we close that, and then we show the results, and we see that yes, indeed, the deployment from the member states seems to be a good approach. On the other hand, 39% seem to say that we need a EU framework for the deployment of these vehicles. So not so easy to identify what should be needed, but at least it gives us some guidelines.
Maxime, could you allow me a comment on this?
Yes, of course, Panagiotis, feel free.
So I would like to state that in the past we see that mainly most of the people will believe that we need the EU framework. So you can see that the results are changing a little bit. So member states are taking, let's say, the upper hand in this situation. So I think this is a good evolution, that also member states are actually involved. So this was my comment, that I think it's quite worthy toward the future deployment.
Yeah, very good comment. I see another comment coming from the audience. the fact that a private initiative cross-border will be able to act as well. So that might be the ones that are answering yes. And so private initiatives from might be also another solution. So now going on, because we are a bit short of time, on connectivity, another topic that was important and that has been important for many years. The fact that connected and cooperating vehicles were seen as a migration path towards the automated driving, and a quote that I have here is, automation will not happen without connectivity. On the other hand, we received a contradicting statement saying that we should rather talk about automated vehicles that are connected rather than connected automated vehicles. This was a statement from quite important inputs, but what was meant there is that automation will come first, that we first have more and more ADAS, more and more assistance to the driver, and then some of the limitations will be addressed by the communication aspects and the connection. So I think that we have a small poll on that statement. Would be interesting to see what the people think. And the poll is, with which statement do you agree? Automated vehicles will become connected, or connected vehicles will become more and more automated. So it's two different viewpoints. So you can also opt for both of these viewpoints are true, and we will see what you think. It's a good way to interact with you and see what you have in mind. So we have 81% of the people voted, so we close that, and then we look at it, and we have 37% say that automated vehicles will become more connected, so going from ADAS to connectivity. Connected vehicles will become more automated, 23%. And then some say both statements are fine. So I would have said both. I did not have the chance to vote. We had some inputs from US DOT, and Panagiotis, would you like to say something about this statement and how this was perceived?
Yes, I think this statement is a little bit tricky to understand it right now, but what was meant, I think, is that some people believe that automated vehicles will be first, and then some limitations will be covered by connection to the infrastructure or through other vehicles. But I think the interesting result was within the poll that you can see 40% believe both of them, which is the idea that was presented also by some colleagues during the conference, by the US mainly partners, that said that convergence would be maybe the solution, that you will have automated vehicles on the one side and ADAS that are developing, on the other parallel side you have connectivity, and then these two technologies converge to provide the benefits of both solutions. So I think this is what people also believe through the poll here.
Very good, thank you. In the meanwhile, we had a question on the fact, asking if we actually had any regulatory approach presented, including the certification of infrastructure. And as far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Panagiotis, I did not hear much of requests to have a regulatory approach for the certification of the infrastructure.
No, I think all the discussions were focused on the vehicle part. And some insurance companies were asking about the vehicle part and the certification procedures in the vehicle. In the infrastructure, I think it's a more complex issue, and I don't think we are ready to touch it right now.
Okay. Next, thank you, Panagiotis. So I mentioned the US DOT giving their point of view on connectivity, and what they believe is that, as you said, Panagiotis, that we are in a path where both ADAS and connectivity have a potential for safety and for smarter and more efficient transport. And then they state that the full benefits of vehicle automation can be achieved only through connectivity, and so the merging of the two will be the most beneficial for the road transport. Also, some challenges that were raised quite sometimes during the conference is the reliability of the systems when we have to use the connectivity, and that is the reliability of the system is addressed in adaptive for highly automated driving, but rather from the sensor point of view. I'm not sure how much connectivity and reliability is approached. Panagiotis, you might want to give a comment on that. How much is reliability considered in adaptive?
Yeah, I think reliability is one of the key issues that will be addressed in response 4, together with the other issues, reliability of the sensors of the systems and certification, together with the terminology and the different levels of automation will be tackled there. So there's huge work that will be performed in the next months in this sub-project. So we'll have some more results, I think, in the future.
Mm-hmm. Great. So also data privacy issue was mentioned, and it seems to be addressed at highest level in EU policy making. We still have to identify, okay, how this is done and who's doing it. But of course, there are privacy, data privacy directive, and it has been amended. So yes, but still, it seems that the technology goes so fast that it's quite difficult to use this directive for our ITS needs. And then cybersecurity was mentioned a few times, and it seems that there is a quite interesting group at the collaboration between US and EU called HTG6, so Harmonization Task Group, if I remember well, and they are doing a lot of work, and if you need more inputs, I can give you a point of contact. Any other, as I know that for you, Panagiotis, this is an important topic.
Yes, it's a very important topic. Yes, I would like just to close connectivity with this statement that either we follow a migration path, either we follow a convergence, either we follow the automation first and then the connectivity. The main conclusion is that on all these cases you can see that connectivity is mentioned. So sooner or later, in one way or another, connectivity will play a significant role towards automation. So I think this is the main message that we could receive from all the discussions.
Very good statement. Thank you, Panagiotis. Now, the other point that we looked at is the testing and validation, and with some statements from saying that testing of a highly automated vehicle will never be exhaustive enough and able to cover all possible scenarios. Means that too many variables are present between vehicles, infrastructure, and the transport cloud. So this will become a liability headache, and at the end we will come back to the basics and then not even try to find who's liable for the accident that was caused. And so in terms of testing and validation, I must say that I was personally impressed by the work that is being done in Netherlands from RDW, and then we will go on. So I give one slide of the RDW, one of the RDW presentation, and where the Davidemo is actually going to be exempted from some of the requirements. And here you have the list of requirements that have been exempted on vehicle regulation, Chapter 6 and Section 4, etc. Well, I'm not going to go too much into the details, but their next step is to adjust the legal framework, regulation, so like in the Davidemo, granting exemptions, then going deeper into how they can regulate these vehicles on the Dutch roads. And also they wanted to look at the digital roadmap and see more how the digital roadmap has to be framed in a legal framework. And then the proposed admittance that they have in mind is first go through virtual testing, then closed tests, then limited tests with experienced driver on predefined areas, limited with unexperienced driver on predefined area, and then unlimited without restrictions. So very interesting work that has to be followed from RDW. Then now the next topic is on human factors. And I put a little statement that I noted, but it's not directly related on the human factors, but the statement was 90% of the accidents are related to human errors. So automated driving systems could not be so bad, even if they will probably cause other types of accidents. But what is clear is that it is easy for us humans to accept other people's faults, but it is not that easy to accept a machine fault. So I don't know if this statement is really valid. I leave that up to you. We also identified strong links to public acceptance in terms of human factors and education and awareness. But actually there was not that much on human factors, surprisingly, as it's a main topic, but not that much. I identified one presentation in the adaptive special session, and where the human-centered design seemed to be one of the main points. And I take one slide that I have from that session on the key research questions in adaptive. So driver in the loop, driver attention states, shared control, controllability, the transition of control, and the design of the interface are the things that they want to test, and they want to have a pragmatic way of identifying, answering the research questions for each of these topics. So still, human factors are challenges are huge. The transition of control and the mode confusion were covered in habit and interactive, and will be covered in adaptive. But things that such as interaction with non-equipped road users and pedestrians, etc., seems not to be very well covered. So the operation in mixed environment and the relation with other people, other drivers in that environment, the way you make eye contact when you're in an automated mode, or the recognition of the gesture of the policeman is things that are still challenging, and I'm sure that there are many more. Another point is digital infrastructure. The digital infrastructure was mentioned many times. Here we should be careful. Digital infrastructure means the digital road infrastructure, so the information that is coming from the cloud, let's say, in terms of information about the road. And one statement that I have here is the role of the cloud in the automation of the road transport is not understood to its full extent. And I have chosen, actually there was two very interesting presentations, one from Conti and one from here in the executive session. The statement of Conti was that strategic partnership will be key to go forward with automated driving, and not one single company can perform automation and driving on its own. And there they displayed a partnership approach together with Cisco, IBM, here, and Continental. Very interesting to follow in the future. And then here was the next speaker, and then gave also some insight on their strategy, looking at smarter guidance, intelligent cars, and enjoyable information. And one thing that was very interesting in terms of their presentation was a new layer of information on top of the high-definition maps, on top of the dynamic context, but also what did they call the humanized driving. So how can I be driven comfortably? How human is the automatized driving? Very interesting and to be followed also.
Now?
There is a poll, Davide is telling me. So it is a simple poll. It is, how important do you think digital roadmap infrastructure will be for the deployment of automated vehicles? And 1 is the highest importance, and 5 is the lowest importance. I hope that we are going to, but still, I got a few statements saying that if we rely too much on the digital infrastructure, we are going to not be very successful. But let's see what the audience thinks. We can close that, and we have here 46% of the people thinking that it is of the highest importance to have a digital roadmap infrastructure, 21% 2, and then 14%, and 4. So still some people are thinking that we have about 32% that think that it's not, it's an average or lower importance. So still interesting to hear. Now I'll go to, now I'm finished in the review of the different thematic themes that we were interested in. And now we will look at the Japanese and the US activities. And there was interesting statements. I'll go first through the Japanese cross-ministerial strategic innovation promotion program on automated driving, and then the multimodal program plan for vehicle automation for US. So for Japan, very very new activity on this cross-ministerial strategic innovation promotion program, looking at all ministries involved, whether it's NPA, METI, MLIT, and also the telecom ministry. We have an overview, and here Ushimura-san from ITS Japan seems to be the best person of contact to give the information needed. So looking at social benefits, technology innovation, and business incubation, and all this with an overview at cross-ministerial level. So a very dramatic change since before. So, and then from the US side, there is this multimodal program plan for vehicle automation. It spans from 2015 to 2019. It is led by ITS Joint Program Office, and it puts together a lot of different agencies of the US DOT and beyond. So there is a domestic collaboration also with the other Department of Defense, for example, etc. So indeed, US DOT has engaged with a large number of other agencies, as automation will impact many parts of the society, not only transport. And I think that this is also what the Japanese are engaging into at the moment. So here you have a list of the different research tracks that they have identified, and then also a lot of current research underway, and also a lot of research starting in 2014. So things to follow, and we are trying to monitor these in the wiki as much as we can. So also we invite anyone that knows about these activities to put information on the wiki. So some of the people that we missed actually, or topics that would deserve more attention for the next activities, is some of the national activities that we know of and that we did not hear about much. So, for example, France has a large initiative on automation spinning off from the list of 33 presidential priorities for growth. And I'm sure we will hear more about it in 1 year from now at the Detroit Congress. But too bad we did not see that much from this ITS Helsinki experience. So Germany is very active at federal level on highly automated driving issues with 3 large groups, large working groups, one of them on legal issues. But unfortunately, even if we ask, no one yet wanted to give a statement on these activities, on the results of these activities. So hopefully we will get more the next meetings. Volvo Cars is coordinating the Drive Me project in Gothenburg, and unfortunately Volvo Cars was not giving any statements yet. And then UK has launched a new national competition for fully automated driving and coordinated by the Catapult, but we still have some question marks there, and we would like more information. Another point that was missed is fully automated transport, and I know that Adriano Alessandrini is there on the poll, as participant, and we have had Finland, Greece, UK, and many others are supporting the idea of full automation transport with limited speed and in controlled environment. Sorry. Finland hosted a brainstorming session, very interesting, where they stated their prioritized interest on short-range urban environment, fully automated vehicles for first and last mile solutions, and they were very clear. There was very clear statement on the fact that they are going to have a legislation by the end of the year. Then industry players are investing actively in full automation. New joint venture between Ligier and Robosoft has been created recently, and we did not have that much information yet, and we hope that during the ITS Bordeaux we are going to have more. And then City Mobile project is preparing a series of demonstrations in Europe. La Rochelle, Lausanne, Milan being the largest demonstrations with 8 to 10 months each of operations, but there are many others, and it will start now during this summer, September. So, is there any other polls? No? Then I would like to mention a few next events, next places where you should be if you are interested in automation. In a few weeks there will be the Automated Vehicle Symposium 2014 organized by TRB and AUSVI. It is a very interesting meeting where there are a lot of possibilities to interact with experts. So I invite you to attend these. Detroit from the 7th to 11th of September, where we have organized from DRA point of view 4 special sessions on the accurate maps, on the deployment of automation, on the requirements for road testing, and on human factors. So I hope that you can follow us at the Detroit event, and also Bordeaux, where we still have to identify exactly what we want to do, and we will be sure interact. And then a small poll to conclude this session. Which events do you plan to attend? Automated Vehicle Symposium, the Detroit ITS World Congress, and the Bordeaux ITS World Congress. And select all that apply is the point, so you can select any that you want here. And so we have 56% of votes, 61. Some of you might not attend at all, so of course we can close this and show. So 30% of the audience think that they will be at the Automated Vehicle Symposium, 30 other percent at the Detroit Congress, and a large amount will be at the Bordeaux Congress, so we know already that this is going to be a major event. So with this, I think that we can conclude, but there must be a lot of questions, and if Panagiotis, you would like to add something before we go through the questions, please feel free.
No, I think just to make a statement, let's say that I think the momentum is quite good, as we discussed also in the beginning of the presentation of the webinar, and things are moving very fast. And you can imagine while we were discussing and having this webinar, I received an email for a consortium in the Netherlands applying for testing platoons and automated trucks for logistics purposes in Rotterdam and in Netherlands in general. So you can imagine that the momentum is very good for automation. We're on a very good path. So this is just as a conclusion for the webinar and in general for automation.
Very good. We have here a few questions that we could raise. One question on the Volvo Drive Me activity. Is Volvo doing certifying the infrastructure? And the answer, I think, was in partly on my slides, that indeed they are going to do the certification of the digital maps, and they are at the moment indeed going through and collecting these maps, these sensor information, and putting these into a map, and then making sure that this information is good enough for the operation of the vehicles on these ring roads highway. So, and then another simple question is are we going to put this information online? Yes, all the slides are going to be online on the VRA website. How can you? Another question is, how can you manage at member state level if the accident involves a driver from a different country? Interesting. Actually, well, if the driver, well, if there is exceptions from one road authority to operate on the national roads, I think this is not for drivers that are international, but still to be confirmed. An interesting question that actually we did not talk much about is the role of GNSS in this framework. So what is the role of GNSS? And indeed, I remember a statement from Angelo Sanditis as a result or lesson learned from the interactive presentation, where he said that still the highly accurate positioning of the vehicle still remains an issue, and then we will have to use all possible positioning technologies in order to increase the accuracy, and so the GNSS, Galileo, and so on are very, very important for this aspect.
Some information from Nick Reed on the UK competition.
We have received some information from Nick Reed from TRL on the competition, the UK competition, which is subject to final arrangement, and so we'll be happy to give more information, perhaps on the VI website as a press release. So, and then I think that this is it. So we are past the hour. So I would like to thank you very much for this interesting discussion, and then also thank you very much, Panagiotis, for the work that you have done putting things together. I think this was done in a good team way, and the result is quite interesting. After one day after the end of the conference, we managed to put that together, and so thank you very much.
Thank you also, Maxime, for giving me the opportunity to support you with this very important aspect.
So, thank you, and I'm sure that we will have, from this experience, more webinars in the future. So, see you very soon in this webinar series.